Good evening. HD here. Welcome to my dinner party. It's been wild. I'm known for having dinner parties, but this one got a little crazy, so I already kicked Freud out, just so you know. Who's left, you say? Well, Piaget, Erikson, Bowlby, and Ainsworth, and of course, yours truly. Freud, before he left, happened to make the outlandish statement, genes, environment, and culture all play equal roles in raising healthy and happy children. Well, he didn't necessarily agree with that statement himself, but, being the devil's advocate and a pot stirrer, so to speak, he just threw that gasoline on the fire and then I threw him out. Not today. Piaget, at that time, he goes, well, hey, hold on. I think that statement has some reasoning. And he says this because he says, I believe cognitive development occurs in stages, 4 of them to be specific. And while I won't bore you with the details, or maybe I will after brandy, know that my theory assumes that learning is predicated on prior experiences and capabilities that occur over time in a step-like fashion. In other words, as children grow and develop their neurological abilities through the freedom to engage in the world around them, the result is cognitive development and learning. So, hey, yeah, everything is fairly equal in that capacity. And then Erikson says, hey, wait a second. Equal? Let's have a conversation about equal. He goes, biological, psychological, and societal factors influence development from birth to death. Genes, environment, and culture, they're components of these factors. I take issue with that word equal because the complexities of the human experience build on themselves through 8 stages of psychosocial development as defined and theorized by moi. In other words, these experiences mold and shape us, but it is through the primary conditions surrounding our experience that enable us to find happiness. So positive conditions likely promote positive outcomes. And Erikson, feeling mighty fine about himself, sits back in his chair and takes another sip of brandy. Bowlby and Ainsworth then talk amongst themselves and then chime in, well, we don't want to discredit the biological components of each individual, but we think it has more to do with the connection between infant and caregiver in something called an attachment. And depending on the attachment type in specific, that this child falls into, it can determine whether or not the child will be able to create secure attachment bonds throughout life. Let's talk about secure attachments. Well, that's when the caregiver responds to the infant's cries in a timely fashion. Needs are met. The bond is made. And fractured attachments occur when the caregiver is unavailable to meet those needs for a variety of reasons, or doesn't meet the infant's needs in a timely fashion. They create insecure attachments that affect future and lifelong relationships. So really it's about that initial infant and caregiver role, that bond. Now, as dessert is served and the brandy refilled, I've been asked, well, HD, whose side are you on? And I say, that depends. But for the sake of the conversation, I'll say Bowlby and Ainsworth. As a mother of over 20 years, I have observed that the children I knew to be raised by attentive and connected, loving, responsive caregivers have a way easier go than those that did not have such a fortunate experience. And I will credit the lifespan and development text of this term, Coker et al., for supporting these comments.